to the InObscuria podcast, a podcast where we exhume obscure rock and punk and metal, and we put them in one of three categories: the lost, the forgotten, or the should have beens. My name is Kevin Williams, and I'm joined today. You won't believe it. You know who's here? Robert Harrison,
what?
right over there.
Really? Oh, that's me.
Special guest,
Hello.
right across from me, who's
Directly.
been here for 50-some episodes.
Yes, the whole time.
52 episodes.
You haven't run me off yet. I mean, it's my house, so.
It's true. This is true. What's been going on with you this week, sir?
You know, I think I finally finished all the cleanup from the hurricane that moved through. I don't remember the name of the hurricane, so it's kind of like my girlfriends. They just
It was Alpha Omega.
They come and go, don't remember their names, but leave a lot of debris I have to clean up. Chainsaws are involved. Yeah, we got through with all that, and I hope everybody has enough firewood around here for the next 10 years because of all the trees that came down. So I've got 3 chainsaws. I think I'm the only person that has a family lineage of chainsaws. I have my grandfather's chainsaw, my dad's chainsaw, and my chainsaw. So 3 generations of liability hazard material that's never sent me to the hospital yet, but I have scars from my dad's chainsaw where it just about kicked my ass one time.
I was going to say, I assume the safety standards are quite different on each of these chainsaws as you go through the years.
It's one of them's just slightly safer than the other, but yeah, the older one, my grandfather's, it's just raw. You know, you can just tell it's old school. The new one's a little quieter, more refined, doesn't kick back as much, but it's just, you know, the old one's still a little bit more fun sometimes. It's like driving an old muscle car versus getting in my new muscle car. Sometimes you just want that raw danger. But you know, I still have 10 fingers, so who cares?
Yeah, no guards whatsoever.
No,
right?
no. It's all up to you to wear whatever protection you want to wear, which is usually just headphones. So I'm listening to music.
No, your dad's is from when?
Let's see. We've probably got a 80s, 90s, and a brand new one. Mine's brand new. So I finally had to upgrade a little bit larger than my dad's for no reason, but just I wanted a larger chainsaw. There's no sense having 2 chainsaws the same size. What kind of crazy world is that? Nobody wants that. So yeah, I've got a variety. It's like a buffet, chainsaw buffet.
Do you two-hand,
you can
double fist the chainsaws?
You can. My grandfather's is small enough, and my dad's is kind of medium. So yeah, you can do that. I haven't done it yet, but now that you said that, that's going to happen. So thank you.
If you do, I want a picture.
Oh yeah, we're going to have to get a picture of that.
Badass.
I think that might be worthy of posting on the Facebook page. So
Absolutely.
Get us more PR.
So, hey, guess what? We are not a chainsaw podcast.
No, not at all. Yeah. But we will talk about Still, Echo versus McCullough, Poulan.
If you are new to us, this is not typically what we talk about.
No, we're not lumberjacks.
But sometimes we do. Yeah. So I'll just give a little brief synopsis of what we do here. So every show, I open up the crypt and exhume and dissect from my own personal collection, either an artist or an album or collection of tunes. And it's from a broad spectrum, somewhere in the rock, punk, and metal category. Robert over here is forced to test his endurance every week and provide honest feedback to me, even though I may be pleading with him to like something. He has no idea what he's going to be subjected to every week. So he is completely in the dark until I come and shed my light upon thee.
And for the most part, I'd say A- to A, that I've learned things. I hear music that I like. There's been a few instances where I'm just, going, no, don't play that ever again. Burn that, whatever that was you just played. But for the most part, I really enjoy learning. I mean, my music collection is nowhere close to Mr. Kevin's over there, that he's got an amazing collection of music, not just in his house, but also in his head. He knows a lot of facts. So he brings a lot to the table here to broaden my horizons and really educate me on what I'm missing out there. And there's so much out there. It's amazing. We've been going for a year now, uncovering all kinds of dusty music that I haven't heard, and he's not even scratching the surface yet.
Well, after you do your studies, go listen to Growing Up Rock, the Slamfest podcast. You want to pause there for Slamfest?
Yes. So shout out to Mr. Brad. I listened to Slamfest podcast episode, whatever that was, it was the Pink Floyd concert in 1994.
I think it was number 812.
It's 812. Okay, thank you for that. The details. See, numbers and facts, this kind of escape me a lot of times, but the podcast was good. I enjoyed. Really want to give a shout out to finding the radio advertisement that was played on the radio to advertise ticket sales for that concert that I remember all those years ago on the radio, live, coming to you at the so-and-so Coliseum or whatever. Pink Floyd. And they would play, snippet of Comfortably Numb and snippet of Wish You Were Here or whatever to sell tickets. And I remember hearing that and getting very excited. I saw them in Tampa. Kevin, you saw them. And
I saw them in
Clemson. So we all saw the same actual tour, not the same show, but it was still very memorable. And I'm glad they talked about the pod in the middle of the arena that opened up and there was bright lights coming out of it. It's hard to explain to people that weren't there, but it was an amazing part of the show. So I was very happy to listen to that podcast.
Yeah, at some point we will also talk about Pink Floyd in a little more detail. Some point.
Yeah,
they're not quite obscure. We'll figure out a way to bring.
Well, they have a song called Obscure or an album called Obscure by Clouds. So maybe that's a way to sneak in under the radar. Okay, cool.
So, and by the way, Brad, if you're listening, getting Robert to listen to someone else's podcast is an impressive feat.
Monumental.
So pat yourself on the back. He listened to your podcast. Usually he just listens to himself over and over.
On repeat.
But also go out there, listen to Pod of Thunder. Listen to Decibel Geek, Metal Up Your Podcast, The Dummy Room, Podcast Rock City, Cobras and Fire, Rock Strikes 10, History Science Theater, The Kiss Room, Ages of Rock, The Synaptic Empire, and don't forget about Monty's Rockcast.
That Monty. I like Monty. Monty's a cool guy.
Monty's the best. Also, come visit us at InObscuria.com. Like us, share, recommend us, do other things with us. Just don't hurt us.
No.
Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Also, well, I guess that's it, really.
Is that? Come on.
Are we on something else? No, that's it.
Just call us. Our phone numbers are on the Facebook page. Just give us a call. We're available in the evenings.
I do have something else. We need an Apple Podcast review. Go ahead and leave us one of those.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We haven't had one of those in, a week?
At least.
Okay.
We like getting those.
Yes.
Those are
good or
cool.
bad. Give us some criticism. Tell us what we can do better. Tell us what we do great. Whatever. We like to hear from you.
All right. So this week, Robert, we were supposed to have a very special guest. Hopefully, we will get this special guest next week. Fingers crossed. So I had to go back to Rolling the Bones. So had to roll the bones.
Is that a Rush reference?
Of course it
Did you just sneak in a Rush reference on a show about obscure bands?
Of course I did.
You're going to hell.
But this is also, this is the way that we get our selections every week as we reach out to the spirit world.
A little voodoo.
One of the way to do that is to actually roll bones. Mm-hmm. I'm not just talking about dice here. I'm talking about rolling the bones.
Like chicken bones.
And you read the bones, and the bones said, do what you did in episode 34.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Very specific.
Yeah, I remember that.
Very specific bones.
That thing that you did, it was really good.
You remember what that was?
Yeah, it was really cool.
Oh, what, you want to announce it?
Yeah,
go ahead.
Is that thing you did on episode 34, and now we're talking about it again? That's how good it was.
Yeah,
yeah.
No. Okay.
Not at all.
So episode 34, we had an episode called "Covers from Beyond," where we played obscure bands playing some covers that maybe you've heard of before, and it was a really cool episode. Well, hell, we're going to do it again. This is more covers from beyond. This is episode 52. So we talked about last time in episode 34, whenever that was, some point during 2020, we talked about how covers are just part of rock and roll. Because everybody, like you and I, we were in bands. And
everybody covers somebody.
First thing you do is you always wear your influences on your sleeves, no matter what you think you are or not. Most people are not that original. No, you're going to take things that you like, and that's what's going to come out in your own music. And usually before you get to that point, you're just going to play other people's music because you think it's cool to play a riff. Smoke on the Water, great riff. Rocky Like a Hurricane, that's cool. That's an easy riff. I can play that.
Well, it's like it's a nice bonus. You've spent time woodshedding, playing, practicing chords, and the bonus, the payoff is playing an actual song. And since you probably don't write songs yet, it's your favorite band song. You're going to Smoke on the Water. That's one of the first songs most people play on the guitar.
Most people play. Huh?
Yeah.
So what was the very first one for you? You probably said it last time. I just don't remember what it was.
First song I played on the guitar?
First cover you ever learned.
Oh, no.
Even if it was just a riff.
It was acoustic. So it would have been, I learned on acoustic guitar, so it was like a Jimmy Buffett or maybe even, I would say James Taylor. That was a little more complicated. That was finger picking. So yeah, probably a Jimmy Buffett song. I remember the first song my guitar teacher tried to teach us, and it's a folk song. Hang Down Your Head, Tom Dooley. And it was apparently a popular folk song back in the day. And this guy was an older hippie guy trying to teach us in the 80s. And of course, I'm looking at him like, what the hell is this? Folk music? No, I want Metallica.
Did you take his Birkenstock off his foot and beat him in the face with
I'm
it?
sure he was wearing Birkenstocks and socks. Hang Down Your Head, Tom Dooley was the first song somebody tried to teach me. 3 chords. I'm sure I took the same 3 chords and played a Jimmy Buffett song. Once again, I grew up in Florida on the beach, so that was
it's required.
Yeah, it's required by law to be able to play Jimmy Buffett, at least 4 of his greatest hit songs. So anyway, after that, then there was just a succession of acoustic songs that you can play D, A, and G, maybe an E chord. So yeah, all those acoustic songs, and then it wasn't until later till I picked up the electric guitar. So there's another year or 2 later before Smoke on the Water came into play.
Smoke on the Water.
My poor roommate. My
Rock You
God.
Like a Hurricane.
Yeah, I was in college. My poor roommate, bless his heart, had to put up with me learning to play the electric guitar. And I'm pretty sure that's what led to him moving out a year later.
You guys are still really good friends, I take it.
Well, we're cousins, yeah. So we have to be. But yeah, we're good friends now. But yeah,
Right.
that led to some difficulties. Let's just say, with me cranking up an amp and everything.
Yeah, there's nothing like being in college because a lot of people do it. They pick up guitar when they go to college.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I was a drummer in punk bands, right before I went to college. So in high school, I played drums. And then when I went to college, I basically had to do something. So I learned how to play guitar better. I played a little bit, and I had a bass. So I had both. I had an electric guitar, a bass, and an acoustic in my dorm room. So basically, I had no clothes. I just had a gear. And I would sit
Cords
there.
everywhere,
I would,
cables.
And I would sit there and play at all hours of the night, not thinking anything about my roommate, who is not a musician.
Mm-mm.
He likes music, but he was not a musician. I can only imagine. I apologize, Joey, if you're listening. I apologize for putting you through that. Very selfish, but just not understanding at that age that not everybody's into me playing the same thing for 3 hours.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine playing the same song for 3 hours, but other people, maybe not.
Yeah. The first song, so I had a bass first. So I learned how to play some bass licks first. And the first song I ever learned on bass, I don't really know why. I think maybe I just discovered it, but it was Accept Balls to the Wall.
Ball to the wall.
Yeah. So that was my first song. Yeah.
You get some street cred with that one.
There you go.
More so than Jimmy Buffett.
We did a German episode, so see, I have some cred with the Germans.
Breaking the German.
I've been pulling all these lists lately just to kind of kick us off, to get us in the mood before we start listening. And so today what I did was I pulled a list for the top 10 rock songs. So I had to dig through because they were giving me just
According
a list
to
of songs.
Whom?
SpinDiddy.com. Spin Diddy.
Spin Diddy?
Yeah.
Is this
Everybody's on Spin
a
Diddy.
subsidiary of
come
P.
on.
Diddy?
Come on, you're not on Spin Diddy?
Is he owned by P. Diddy?
I have no idea. Anyway, so I pulled this. It's this top 10 rock songs that every cover band must know.
Oh, okay.
So
that'll qualify.
it came up with a whole bunch of other things that I don't consider rock. So I weeded through the ones that weren't rock. And I have some glaring omissions. We'll see what you think. Because actually, when I first met you, Robert, you were playing covers acoustically.
Yes.
You were playing covers in an Irish bar.
I was that guy sitting in the corner playing guitar, and nobody was really paying attention, but I was getting paid in free beer, so
You were. And,
bonus.
But one of the things you have to put up with, especially in an Irish bar, is the requests that come your way when you're mid-song. Mid-song, somebody is going to tap you somewhere on your body and start trying to talk to you while you're singing and playing a song, requesting something that you do not want to play. So I'm going to go through this list, see if any of these,
I'll jump in.
see if any of these hit that. Okay, so number 10, and I was surprised to see this at number 10, Roadhouse Blues, The Doors. Now, I know how to play that, but I don't ever remember a cover band even playing that.
No. That's kind of obscure for cover bands.
Stupid Spin Diddy.
Yeah.
Okay, number 9, for sure, this was played every single time I would go see a cover band, and probably still is, Hard to Handle.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
It's pretty easy, but even we played it.
Yes, we did.
So, yes, everybody has played that song. And they listed the artist as the Black Crowes. Now, let's be honest. That song was much older than the Black Crowes, but the Black Crowes were probably the last ones to have a hit with that song.
Yes. I mean, it wasn't that obscure when they did it. It was just...
But I think every band in the 70s had a version of that. Grateful Dead had a version. I know it's like a soul. I don't know if it's Wilson Pickett or who it is.
They didn't pull it out of obscurity to cover it.
No.
They were just the best band to cover it.
And Steve Gorman had he put a cool beat to it that somebody prior to him hadn't done. So that's still one of those beats that everybody that sits down at a kit plays. That was my mouth
good.
drums. Did you think that was a real kick?
I did.
You thought it was a real kick.
Did you just push a button and have an electronic kick? Come on.
You didn't even know, man.
Damn,
all right,
mouth
number 8. You Shook Me All Night Long, AC/DC. Absolutely.
I think it's 3 chords, maybe.
That gets requested for sure. Number 7, I agree with as well, although I've never played it. American Girl, Tom Petty.
Oh, God. Yeah. Ugh, ad nauseum.
Number 6 as well, one I've never played, but I know it's always played. Summer of '69, Bryan Adams.
Yeah, that's a crowd. I mean, it's just appeals to a broad audience there, old and young.
Yeah. Now, number 5, if you were in the age range that we are, in our 40s, 50s area.
30s?
20s.
20s and 40s.
You've definitely played this song, Jesse's Girl, Rick Springfield.
Yeah.
I know you've played this song.
I know I haven't. No. I have not played it, but I most associate that with karaoke and live karaoke. I'm sure every town has live karaoke these days, but that's what I kind of imagine it with.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking even like wedding bands, like that is a
Oh,
song.
yeah. Oh,
played,
okay. Now, when you said that makes sense.
Because when I think cover bands, for the most part, if you're in a cover band, you play your club gigs, but you get your bank when you're doing weddings and special events.
I was thinking clubs, and I'm like, I don't remember. Oh, weddings.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Where you're going to get your bank, that's the worst. If you've ever played in a wedding band, in fact, if you have, please reach out to us and give us some of your stories, because they are hilarious. Because people at weddings feel like they have some kind of power over the band. Mm-hmm. Like they can get the band to do anything they request, even though they didn't pay a dime. They're there on somebody else's dime.
Hey, I want you to play. Hey, the bride, I know she likes this song, so I want you to play this Tuesday's Gone with the Wind from Skinner. Yeah, play that song. Yeah, the crowd loves that song.
Or, hey, I play guitar too.
Oh, yeah. Can I come up there
and
play your
guitar? Jam with you guys? Because the bride is my best friend's buddy's
and she
girl.
said it was okay. Oh, yeah. No, she totally said it was okay. I'm going to come up there and play with you guys. Shut up. Oh,
yeah, so God. I would love to get some wedding band stories if anybody's been in one, because those are hard gigs. You play a long time, and you get a whole lot of lip from everybody who's getting drunk.
Because people get crunk at weddings.
Yeah, exactly. All right, back to the list. Number 4, Living on a Prayer, Bon Jovi. Now, I've actually never played.
Ooh, that's way. You better have a good vocalist. That's not an easy.
Wait
song.
till we get to number 1.
Okay, because that is way up in the vocal range there.
Yeah. Well, number 3 as well. Number 3, Sweet Child of Mine.
Ooh, even worse. Okay, that's the next step up in register.
You know, every drunk girl who's ever been at a wedding who is around our age, maybe even a little bit younger, wants to sing that song with the band.
Yes.
Even to get up on that stage.
Yeah, you're trying to kick her away. Like, get out. Get away from the microphone, girl.
Yeah. Okay, number 2, especially for us, I'm glad to see this is universal. I thought it was just where we live in Atlanta, Georgia, in the southeastern area of the United States. Sweet Home, Alabama.
Yeah. Oh, that's good, laid back. Once again, it appeals to the parents and the kids at the wedding.
Play some Skinner.
Like, if you have to play some Skinner, Sweet Home Alabama down here is perfectly fine. Up in Maine, I don't know if it's going to go over so well in New York. But
it does, actually.
Does it?
I've been to a wedding in Maine, and and here's what happened.
Out of all the states I picked, that was the one furthest away from Atlanta.
I actually, because when I first met my wife, one of her best friends from law school was from Maine, and we went up to Maine for her wedding.
Yeah.
And sure enough, her sister, so it was the same thing. So the band is playing. Her sister happened to be an incredible singer, right?
Oh, okay.
But she's her sister. She's a bridesmaid.
Yeah.
Well, next thing I know, the bridesmaid is on stage with the band, and she's belting out some Janis Joplin.
Ooh.
And then she just nails
single?
it. No longer with us.
Okay.
So we'll just leave it there.
Awkward.
I had to say it. But then the next thing I hear is I hear some John Denver. And then I hear some Leonard Skinner. So I'm like, okay, I guess it's just universal because we're in Maine.
Wow. Okay, well, I am educated now. That is interesting.
Yeah.
I never would have thought that. I thought it was just regional.
All right. What do you think the number 1 requested song, or a song that every cover band must know, it's a legal requirement? What do you think it is? Now, let me just throw this out first.
You've edited out non-rock songs.
I have, yeah. So I even took out
Neil Diamond.
I took out the Neil Diamond.
Crap.
I took out the Brown Eyed Girl.
Oh, God,
I absolutely hate that song.
Yes,
but every single time you pick up a guitar, some chick is going to ask you to play.
I've got stories about. I played the song. Not 10 minutes later, some young lady, drunk, would come up. Hey, play Brown Eyed Girl. I'm like, I just did. Well, play it again. I'm like, no. And then she would get mad, go back to the table where her 200-pound boyfriend was sitting, start telling him that I was an asshole, that I was mean to her. All of a sudden, he starts heckling me. Well, then I've got a microphone, and I can't resist being a smartass back to this 200-pound linebacker.
You actually have the power. Yeah, you have volume.
Yeah, but then they wait for you after the show in the parking lot, and I no longer have the power when I'm in the parking lot.
Yeah, always know where the back door is.
Yeah, I can run fast when I'm threatened. So yeah, so number one.
Well, before we get to number one, let me just throw one more thing out, or two things. So number one, I also removed Mustang Sally. Now, I have never heard that song anywhere but a wedding.
Yeah.
Why is that song and weddings synonymous? Why do we have to hear that song at a wedding?
Because it's basic.
But
basic. It appeals to the lowest common denominator.
I've literally never heard the song anywhere else.
No, not radio, not live, not anywhere else, but some of the most basic, mundane, like, hey, we have a band playing at a town festival, off the back of a trailer, and there's 10 people listening to it. You'll hear Mustang Sally.
I hate the song.
Yeah,
I can't stand it.
Yeah,
I don't know who recorded it originally, but
bless their hearts. I hope they made some royalties, but I'm good with never hearing that again. So, number one.
So number one, I'll just throw this out there. I would have chosen this as the number one requested karaoke song. I would not consider this the number one song that every cover band must know, but that's where it sits. Mm-hmm. So with that, do you have an idea?
Stand By Your Man.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah. That's not rock.
I got my cousin that I mentioned earlier, who was my roommate. We got kicked out of a karaoke bar for singing that not seriously, and everybody there was taking the karaoke very seriously, and we got asked to leave.
Don't you hate that? Don't you hate that?
We did. We walked in not realizing there was like karaoke night. We were just going to a bar, and so we sat there, and because everybody was taking it so seriously, we just had to make fun of them, and so we got it. We signed up and did Stand By Your Man with the motions, Stand By Your Man, like the Blues Brothers did.
Right.
And as soon as we were done, when we sat down, the manager
everybody
comes up and was like,
knows
yeah, this is not your place. You should probably go find another bar.
Wow. I actually hate it when people take karaoke too seriously.
Way too serious.
I also hate it when they take acoustic performances way too seriously. Like when I used to play a place here in Atlanta called Eddie's Attic.
Yes.
And every time you play Eddie's Attic, especially if you do the open mic, you have to have a certain what's the word? There's a protocol basically to how you have to be in the audience. Like you can.
Oh, you listen. They will
listen.
throw you out if you talk.
Yeah, you can't talk. You can't make your drink can't even make ice cube sounds.
It's a singer-songwriter showcase,
and I absolutely hate it.
Yeah.
Like I just can't stand it. So I'm glad I didn't keep doing that.
No, you and I like to interact with the audience.
Yeah.
We like to party. We like to have a good time.
It's about having a good time.
It was nerve-wracking playing there because it was dead silent. There's people sitting right there.
It's very eerie.
But it was like playing in a library. So I felt subdued. I felt constrained because it was so quiet. When the bar's loud, I feel like I can go bigger and louder too, and that's what I enjoy.
Right.
Bigger and louder. I need a T-shirt that says
I want
that.
people to have a good time if I'm playing.
Exactly. And that's you and I had the same philosophy, and that's why we got along. But what was the number one again?
We haven't gotten.
Oh yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Give one more shot.
I Want to Be Sedated. The Ramones.
Oh, that would be awesome if it were. I would love that. No, it is Don't Stop Believing.
Oh,
Journey.
Oh, God. Another one that's hard to sing.
Now, yeah, most people can't pull that off.
No. Thank God. Only a few people can pull that off.
If you're telling me that's the number one song that you have to know, then you're listening to a really, really bad version of it, probably 80% of the time.
Horrible. But, I mean, if everybody else is drunk, they don't care. It's the people in the band. I feel bad for the people in the band having to play that to some idiot trying to sing that.
All right. So some glaring omissions that if I think of from a cover band perspective, I would think that people would ask you to play Enter Sandman.
That's a good wedding song.
I would expect people to ask you to play Crazy Train and always Freebird.
Yes. That's just, you know what? I don't know if they actually want you to play it. They just want to yell it.
They just want to yell it.
Yeah. I mean, I speak from experience from me personally, having yelled that at the symphony.
Anything else? Because you were the guy that did this the most.
Well, you already talked about Brown Eyed Girl. That I crossed that off. Margaritaville, same, despite where I grew up and the fact that I liked the song many years ago, I grew to hate it because I worked in a bar and they had that CD on his greatest hits on repeat. And then, of course, every 5 minutes somebody asked you to play that. And so I grew to hate that song. What else? That was one of the fun things, was trying to come up with cover songs that all the other guys playing cover songs didn't play. So there was some overlap. But I'd have to go see if I could pull up one of my old set lists from 1997.
Yeah.
Wow.
97.
Yes. I mean, 3/4 of the songs I wouldn't even remember. I might not even recognize the names at this point. But I really tried to break it up and do something different, and then sneak in some. That was right when I was writing songs, so I'd sneak in an original, and then reward people for suffering through my original music by playing a popular song. That's the way I looked at it. Like, if you can bear with me for another 3.5 minutes, I'll play something you like, but I'm going to play my song anyway.
And I saw you doing it, and I'm like, I want to get in on that. And so that's how we started playing together.
Having fun.
That's how we started playing together.
Exactly.
We did acoustic for a while, and
it was fun.
I was the drummer. I had those like special sticks that didn't make as much noise.
Yeah, the quiet sticks. But it was nice because we only had a guitar and a snare and a cymbal. Like, our equipment fit in the trunk of the car versus lugging amps and things like that. Once you go electric, then you got to move some shit.
Yeah. For a drummer, that's what prompted me to change my instrument. Like,
don't blame you.
This drummer shit's not
don't
worth
blame
it.
You.
Okay, so we're going to talk about a band that formed around the same time in the same area. Oh. So here's a band from Atlanta, Georgia, who formed in 99, 2000-ish. And it was formed by two guys that happened to be in a band called Stuck Mojo. And the band I'm talking about is Fozzy.
Yes.
Now, Fozzy, most people know now, Chris Jericho, famous wrestler. He's the singer of Fozzy. When Fozzy first started, they were called Fozzy Osbourne. So it was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was started as a side project for Rich Ward, and then the drummer Frank Fonseca, who's also in Stuck Mojo. So they do this kind of as a side project. Basically, it's like a mock cover band. It's really how they started. Now, everybody knows Fozzy today as it's a real band. They tour all over the world, and they have lots of albums. Well, in 2000, Jericho was in town, and he sees them. He becomes friends with them, because I believe the Stuck Mojo guys were all, at that time, kind of into wrestling and that whole scene. So anyway, Jericho joins them, but he does it under the persona of Mongoose McQueen. He doesn't go by Jericho, okay? And they put out 2 albums. Their first 2 albums are cover albums. And he is playing a character. He's doing what he does in wrestling. He's playing the character, and he never lets up that he's Chris Jericho, even though you can see him. It's Chris Jericho. He says, no, I'm Mongoose McQueen. I don't know who you're talking about.
So this isn't like when, what's the country singer dude?
No.
Gaines?
Yeah.
Chris Gaines?
This is not a Chris Gaines scenario. This is just Jericho having fun. Oh.
The biggest selling country act of all time.
I can remember Chris Gaines, and I can't remember
I can't remember his actual real name.
Garth Brooks.
Garth Brooks. This is how much we care about Garth Brooks. But I got friends in low place. But anyway, I sidetracked.
So he refused to acknowledge that Mongoose McQueen and Chris Jericho are the same person. And when he was interviewed as Mongoose, he would stay in character the entire time.
That would be fun.
And he would
enjoy that.
He would just be ignorant to who Chris Jericho is. Yet when he was Chris Jericho, he would say, I am a big fan of this guy, Mongoose McQueen.
Great. I love him.
Which is just awesome. It was Jericho taking what he does in wrestling and taking it to music. But I think it got a little old, and they figured out, at that point, I don't think Stuck Mojo were gelling quite as much, so they weren't putting out as many albums. So I think Rich said, let's just do this full-time Fozzy. Let's just do it. And so they did, and they have a bunch of albums. But their first 2 albums were cover albums, so I'm going to play something from that. Now, when their first album came out, they had a special backstory for the first album, which is really cool. So the backstory was that they had signed with a record company to move to Japan, to be rock stars in Japan, but the company went out of business, leaving them stranded in Japan for 20 years. And while all their demos that they had recorded in Japan, that they were stolen and recorded by other bands. So their story for putting out their covers album was, these are all our songs that we wrote. They've all been stolen. And we've been in obscurity for 20 years, and now we're coming out and we're going to play our songs. So I'm going to play one of the songs that they wrote, see if you know it.
Other bands stole, and they're recording.
Here's Fozzy from their first album in 2000. Maybe you know the song. I don't know. It's theirs.
Something in my vision, something
Man, that Mongoose McGillicuddy can really sing.
Mongoose McQueen.
McQueen, sorry, wrong. Yeah. That's Rich on the guitar, right?
Oh, that's Rich.
Oh, yeah. So I loved it. I don't know if you noticed, I reached over and
I did
turned
see you
up
turning the volume up.
Because he was channeling Zakk Wylde, who was channeling Randy Rhoads. I love the fact that he didn't go straight to Randy Rhoads. He actually played it as if it was Zakk Wylde live playing that song, which Zakk would put his own touch to. He kept most of what Randy would put in there, but with all the pinch harmonics that you could possibly want, which for me personally, that's all of them. Well, all of the pinch harmonics you can put in there.
Yeah. Rich is the king of tone. I mean, the guy... It was
amazing. I loved it.
Go listen to anything Stuck Mojo, anything Fozzy. His guitar is so recognizable. I mean, he's a living guitar legend in his own right. He's an amazing writer as well as just his tone is so killer.
He and the bass player were really tight in that one too. It gelled perfectly.
Oh, and
for a tongue-in-cheek cover song, that was pretty sweet. I like that.
And they're actually playing. I don't know if you've seen on Facebook, but Rich has been playing. I forget what they're calling it, but they were doing like a whole '80s thing during COVID.
What?
Yeah, they're doing like all these '80s kind of cover songs. I forget what they're calling the band, but he's been playing around again, doing kind of the cover thing. So
God, I'm so ready to get out and see some
just to pass
music.
some time. But he's just the king of tone. So anything he touches, if he would have been my roommate in college, I could have listened to him play for about 4 hours.
Yeah, just keep going. Let's go.
Yeah, hey, keep going. Play that riff again.
What was that again? Yeah.
Yeah, it just drips. It's so good. That was actually my very first Ozzy Osbourne song that I ever heard. Not the Fozzy version.
Right,
but
the actual
Ozzy Osbourne version. That's the first Ozzy tune I ever heard.
Yeah, I can't remember the first. I'm sure it was Crazy Train, but it was on classic rock station. So it was Over the Mountain, Crazy Train, and probably 3 other Ozzy songs. This was before the Lita Ford years, where and I love all that, but that's the only ones they played back then.
So the first time I heard it, Brandon Still and I were over at our buddy Brett Weiss. His name was Brett Weiss. We were over at his house. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And for some reason, he was giving away cassette tapes. Like I don't know if he had stolen them or what, or if they were his sisters. I don't know what.
They're not promotional. They're stolen.
Yeah, but he was like, you guys can have these too. And there were 2 cassette tapes there. I chose Ozzy Osbourne, Diary of a Madman. So that's why this is the first song I ever heard.
Okay.
Brandon chose Alice Cooper, Welcome to My Nightmare. And we would trade those tapes back and forth over the coming years. But it was like a gold mine getting those 2 because there's 2 amazing albums. Yeah. And he just gave them to us. So I don't know what the story was, but that's why that was my first Ozzy Osbourne I ever heard. I only knew him by name. I didn't know his music at all.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember the name because of people preaching about how evil he was and you're going to hell listening to him, and he bit the head off a bat. So I knew like a backstory before I actually heard. No, actually it was Bark at the Moon. Now, I'm sorry, it just came to me. MTV. early
85,
80s,
84, whatever it was.
whenever
Yeah.
that was. I remember the video, so that had to have been the first Ozzy Osbourne song was Bark at the Moon, watching the video at the same time. So there you go.
I knew the name because of a kid down the street who was older than us. He had an Ozzy Osbourne shirt, and it was a Bark at the Moon shirt. I remember that.
That was
And
about that time.
I remember my mom making some comment about the shirt he was wearing. I was like, that is cool.
No, it's not, Kevin. Kevin Williams, that is not cool.
You will
not be
never
wearing
like
that.
any stuff like that.
No, smart people do not listen to music like that.
That will not get into your brain. Okay, so let's move on. The last time we did a cover show, our second song was done by a ska band.
Pick it up.
I'm going to stay in format. We're going to do a ska band. Now, this is probably the most well-known ska band that people think of.
No doubt.
Actually, I wasn't going to go there, but maybe they're the most known.
Derailed.
You got me.
It's like a sport over here.
I think of them as a
know
pop
that.
band.
Yeah, it's a pop band. They're not, well, they had a rock upbringing. Like the early years, they were a full-on ska band.
No, I know.
And then they saw some dollar signs
Yeah.
and went full. And she,
I just always think of them when I got into them was when the big hit was out. So that's. Yeah,
But
I never think of them as ska, but they are. Yeah,
the video
right.
that's out there with her
Just a
singing
girl?
with, well, no, it's her singing with the guy from Sublime. I'm just drawing a blank.
Dude.
The dude from Sublime. Sorry, shoot me. I can't remember his name right now. But anyway, he was
Brad something.
Brad, yeah. Sublime was playing, and she came out and did a song with him, and she's just tearing it up. So yeah, she's got street cred when it comes to ska, but they went full on pop at some point.
Okay, so that's not the band I'm thinking of.
No.
The band I am thinking of is the American ska core band from Boston, Massachusetts, the Mighty Mighty Bosstones.
With the guy standing off to the side dancing for
With
no
the dancer.
reason.
Yeah.
In a suit in 90-degree heat when we saw them here in Atlanta in a parking lot. That dude was sweating balls. I felt bad. But I don't know if he was getting paid hazard pay for dancing in a suit, but he did.
That's what he does.
That's what he does.
He comes on and says something every once in a while, but mainly he just dances. And he does the same dance every song.
Every single song.
Amazing. That's an amazing gig.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bosstones came onto my radar back in, call it 90, 91. They were featured in, I don't know if you remember this, they were featured in Converse All-Star ads because Converse were putting out new versions of the All-Stars that were plaid, and the Bosstones were known for wearing plaid, and they all wore All-Stars. So, so they were in print ads, they had TV ads. Before they really were anything, they were just putting out local, they were regional act at that point. And so that's when they came onto my radar. I didn't actually pick up their music until 94 when I stared discovering ska a little bit more before the big explosion. And I did actually see them. I think I talked about that before. I saw them during, their big explosion when they had the couple of hits that just took over everything for a minute. And I saw them at the Roxy, and my friend Keelan and I were the only two standing there with beers, and we could see above everybody's head because everybody were high schoolers. And here we are standing there with beers, and we're a lot taller than everyone else. We're like, this is cool. They may not even been high schoolers because it was just, the Bosstones at that time were the in thing for the minute.
Yeah, they had a peak.
Yeah. So anyway, it just, we'll never forget that it was like me at the Santana concert, the same experience where I could see over everybody and it felt like it was my own show. But they actually recorded lots of covers. And I am actually, not just am I playing a ska band for the second song, like I did the last episode when we did this, but also I'm going to play a cover song from the same band that the previous ska band covered.
Oh, hang on. Wow. Ooh. Whoa. I've only had half a beer, so you're throwing some heavy stuff on me here.
Here we go. So here's the Bosstones covering that same band that the last ska band covered.
Oh yeah, I heard the news, baby. All about your disease. You may have more that you want to, honey, but I got something you need. Oh yeah, they ain't talking about love. My love is mine to the gold. I ain't talking about love. Just like I told you before. You know you see my good looking, and on the streets again. And you think you're really cooking, mama? You better find yourself a friend. A friend, 'cause I ain't talking about love. My love is mine to the gold. I ain't talking about love. Just like I told you before. Jello. yeah, people. You know, I've been in the edge, and I stood and looked down. I lost a lot of friends there, baby. I got no time to mess around. So if you want, you got to believe on me, baby. You got to believe on me, baby. Got to believe on me, baby. Yeah.
I won't dance in a club like this, 'cause all the girls are sluts and the beer tastes just like this.
Ain't talking about love. My love is right to go. I ain't talking about love. Just like I told you before. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, 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 hey. Ah.
How long was Lemmy in the Bosstones? It's good to hear
Almost,
him again.
right?
I like
Dickie
hearing
Barrett.
him. Oh, was it?
Dickie Barrett. man.
God, he gargles with scrap metal.
And now he's on Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh,
Now
is
he's
he?
the announcer for Jimmy Kimmel. Yep.
Going on there. Oh, God. Make a living sounding like this.
Yeah, so they released that on an EP in 1991. So they had only released one
God, that
full
was a
album.
long time ago.
It was a long time ago. They actually, so 91 is when they released it. They actually covered Inner Sandman on that same EP. It had just
That
come
had just
out.
come out. Yeah, that's ballsy.
That's very ballsy. But it almost like you're thinking, okay, they let the horn section go, and then they come in right in the middle.
Yeah. Like, oh, they're off getting some Twizzlers down.
Yeah.
Oh, no, here they are.
Where's my ska? Oh, there it is. Okay. So what'd you think?
I like it. Well, and it was very timely. Very timely. We're still in that phase
We
where
are,
I'm
yeah.
missing some Eddie, and I can't get enough of that right now.
That was about as far as you can get from an Edward Van Halen guitar
Yes.
solo that I've ever heard.
Yes, that was. He's
If you-
twitching in the grave, not
If
quite
you-
rolling over.
If you can even call it that.
Yeah.
But it was still fun.
Close enough.
And that's what ska music is. It's about having fun.
Absolutely.
So I could just see the little dancing dude just going crazy during that. I wish I knew his name. Oh, well.
Dancing dude. That's
Dancing
good enough.
dude. Number 3, we're going to get to something that I'm pretty sure you're going to like. I don't even think I'm going to tell you who it is. I think we're just going to play
It's
it.
a challenge.
We're just going to
All
play
right,
it.
we'll see. We'll time it. See how long it takes before I guess
Yeah.
it.
I'll say this. We played this band not too long ago, maybe 2 episodes ago.
Yeah, you understand how short my memory is, though. There's no.
I'll also say this.
Yeah, there's.
You're
remembering 2
definitely going to
episodes
know
ago.
this.
Okay.
And this band might mean something to you.
Oh.
So I have a feeling when we get back, Robert's going to be a little verklempt. Might even choke up a bit. Let's just play it.
Somebody's cutting onions.
We've got a good reason for taking the easy way out. We've got a good reason for taking the easy way out now. She was a day tripper, the one-way ticket, yeah. It took me so long to find out, and I found out. She's a big teaser. She took me half the way there. She's a big teaser. She took me half the way there now. She was a day tripper, one-way ticket, yeah. It took me so long to find out, and I found out.
only plays one night stands. That's not to please her, but she only plays one night stands now. She was a day sweeper, Sunday drama, yeah. It took me so long to find out, and I found out she's so.
I don't think it was supposed to end quite like that, but it does.
That's how it ends.
It did. Well, I was thinking towards the end, I love how it was building by getting slower. And you think, okay, here's the big finish. No, it just slows down more.
No, it's going one more.
One more.
No, one more.
And it gets heavier and heavier. You're like, oh, okay, it can't possibly get any. Oh, it just did. It got heavier and slower, and then it just abruptly stops. I think they ran out of recording time at the studio. And they're like,
don't you just love the Rolling Stones?
Yes, Stones are awesome, man.
So that was the Goth Beatles. I'm assuming you know exactly who that was.
Yes.
Yes, a little typo negative. We played them on our Halloween episode, and that's from the same album that we played.
And after that episode, just so you know, I went back and while I was in my shop, which is one of my favorite things to do, is work in my shop listening to heavy music. And I started at the beginning and just went through, I think, pretty much their entire catalog over the course of, it was probably 2 nights to do that. But yeah, listening to song after song, I've just realized it puts the deepest, darkest, heaviest, gothiest, evilest music, puts me in the best mood. It's like blues music is talking about the worst of the worst, losing your girlfriend, your wife, whatever, losing your house, broke, whatever
but it makes you feel good.
But yeah, it's you emote and then you feel better.
It's
and
cathartic.
It's cathartic, yes. And so I think that's what that is. But yeah, it's so funny. if anybody's walking past my house at night, hearing this blaring, I got a pretty bitchin' sound system in my workshop to make sure I can hear it above all the power tools. So I'm sure my neighbors are wondering what the hell's going on in that basement.
And they recorded a lot of covers over their career. They had some
the Carpenters.
They had the Seals and Crofts.
Seals and Crofts. Oh, God, I forgot about that.
They did Sabbath. They did Neil Young.
Yeah.
Had a great version of Neil Young's song, The Doors. They have a ton of covers. But
the Carpenters is one that if you're a goth metal band and you cover the Carpenters, you got to pull it off.
Well, I mean, obviously they were huge Beatles fans.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me that they can be as heavy as they were and kind of tongue-in-cheek the band was, but still pull off those harmonies. To play a Beatles song and to put as much power as they did into it and pull off the harmonies,
yeah,
pretty damn impressive.
It was impressive. It's just so heavy. But once again,
she's so heavy.
When you have a band that covers a song like that and they do a good job, it also makes you realize that was a good song to start with.
Yeah.
Shitty songs, crappy songs, whatever.
Yeah,
you can jazz
can't put
them
lipstick
up.
on the pig.
Yeah, you try, but when you have a cover that's that heavy and that powerful, okay, the cover band's good. The original band, that song was a good song to start with.
And I love hearing metal bands play Beatles tunes.
I prefer listening to it like that over the originals, though.
I do too, and it shows you that their influence really was beyond, I think, even
Yeah.
the scope that they realized, because their music actually translates really well to heavy.
It does. And I think that's why I like it. I don't listen to the original Beatles that much because I always picture them old people music. And from the early days, it was only 20 years old when I was just starting to listen to music, which is bizarre, but still, it was already generational. So I just never got into it.
I appreciate it. I own a lot of it, but it's not something I go to often.
No, but you play
I love
cover.
the covers.
Yeah, absolutely. Every single time.
I definitely appreciate the songwriting for sure. So I'm actually going to play an obscure band. So this band everyone may not know, which is what we do here.
That's right.
So for number 4, I'm going to play a band from Sweden. We talked about Sweden in an episode. Remember that was episode, what number was that?
11.
That was it.
11.
Yeah, and this band, I love bands that have themes. This band, they wear masks, they wear special hats. Each of them has a different hat, and they have great rock and roll names. And I love that.
That's the best. We never did that. We should have done that.
I know. And this is a band that stole their name from a comic book company that ended up being kind of big. So this is a band called Marvel.
Oops.
But they use umlauts over the A.
Okay, so that you can get away with it then.
Yes, exactly. You put umlauts over everything. You're
Safety
cool.
umlauts.
And you're metal at the same time.
True.
So this band consists of The King on guitar and vocals, The Burger on bass.
That would have been me.
And The Vicar on drums. And they've had other people come in and out. And unlike Kiss, they don't put the same people in the same hat and mask. They let people have their own identity.
Nice.
As they come into the band. That's kind of what they're known for, is having that whole shtick, and they're big Kiss fans. They even have, I think their latest album has a picture of Ace Frehley on the back. I don't know how they got away with that, because I'm pretty sure they didn't pay for that.
And certain people are very protective of their image.
Exactly. So I'm kind of surprised they got away with it. And it actually is a covers album.
Gene, if you're listening, just be cool, man.
Yeah. So they've put out 2 covers albums. One I'm going to play for is from 2006, and they just released one in 2019. It was a covers album. And they've had 12 releases, so very prolific band. They've been around, and I actually first heard of them on used to be a radio version of Podcast Rock City. It was PRC Radio Live, and Brent, he used to run that. He used to let me and Brad Rustoven used to be on that
Brad.
every once in a while. And he did an interview with these guys and turned me on to them, and I've just been collecting their albums ever since. So thank you, Brent, for that. I'm going to play a version of a song that was on the list that we read at the beginning of the episode.
Okay.
This is one of those top 10 songs, and I actually think this band does it better than the band that put it out. So we'll see what you think, but then again, I'm not a huge fan of the band that originally put it out, but check it out. This is Marvel from Unleashed 2006.
Working for a man, she brings
Yeah, I'll agree. I like that better than the original too.
It's like Kiss, the Ramones, and Santana's rhythm section had a baby and played a Bon
And then
Jovi
throw in the Isley brothers for the guitar part. It just sounded like,
you're right.
who's that lady?
You did have that sound. I didn't even get that. It's awesome.
Look at me pulling out the references out of the middle of nowhere.
Man.
Listen, that song, I remember a quick incident, 1985. I got my driver's license before a lot of my friends did, a few months before they did, but I didn't have a car yet. I didn't have my bitchin' Camaro yet. So I was driving my father's pickup truck, which is a little tiny Mazda pickup truck, and I put a roll bar in the back of it with the lights, the fog lights, like it was it was just a street car. It wasn't even an off-road truck, but I put a roll bar with fog lights on my dad's pickup. And I pick up a friend of mine to go to school. His name's Charles. I'm not going to give his full name. Gets in. This song comes on the radio, and I remember him getting really excited, like, "Oh my God, this is the best song ever! Listen to it, listen." And he turned it up, and we sat there and listened to it. And he was just getting into it. The song is over, and he's like, "Oh my God, that's just like the best song ever!" And I remember turning and looking at him and just losing a little bit of respect for him at that moment. Like, we were never really friends after that. We were just acquaintances, but it was just a harbinger of things to come. Where I just realized, really? This is your taste in me? Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. No. So that was, the early signs of me awakening to what good music was, and that was not it.
If they would have had that bass guitar tone,
maybe,
if Bon Jovi would have had that, maybe I would have liked it. But that fuzzy ass driving bass, I mean,
we both like that. We both like that.
It's like Lemmy decided to step in on a Bon Jovi session. Love it.
Just stab your speakers and your bass amp; it'll sound perfect.
I would just say look for more Marvel to come in our future.
I like that. I'm okay with that.
All right. Now I'm going to move on to the powerhouse. I'm going to tell you about a band. Some people will know it, but this was a band that was supposed to be a powerhouse. So this is a band called HSAS. Do you know this band?
Hisas?
Maybe you know them by Hagar,
Servant.
Sean, Aronson, and Shreve. Well, you know
Neil
two
Sean?
of the names. Yeah,
Neil Sean.
Sean. Yes. So Sammy Hagar, Neil Sean,
yeah.
Kenny Aronson, who was Joan Jett's. He was in Joan Jett. He was Billy Idol. Billy Squire. He played for the Billies. Billy Idol, Billy Squire, Foghat, Brian Setzer. Michael Shreve he was a drummer in Santana. He played with Neil Sean when Neil was in Santana. He played for Mick Jagger. He, did percussion for Rolling Stones. Little gigs. Anyway, these guys.
Obscure bands.
Yeah, obscure bands. These guys got together and they put out one album that is mostly live. They took out the crowd noise. I don't know why.
Why?
I don't know. But they released this one album in 1984, and then Neil decided to go back to Journey, and Hagar released VOA, which had his big hit on it, I Can't Drive 55, and then he went on to Van Halen. So, I don't know. They put out this one album. It's on Geffen. They got some money behind it. David Geffen put it out. And the first single they released is a bitchin' cover of a 60s tune, which I always loved. Okay. So I'm going to play it. It was a single. It's not as obscure as maybe something else we may play, but it's certainly forgotten.
I mean, that band right there qualifies as obscure. The members don't, but the band does.
The band does.
And they used to hang out more. When Eddie passed, you get a lot of the articles coming out, and didn't realize how much Neil Sean was involved as far as just being friends and hanging out with Eddie and Sammy too, back in the day. So I kind of picture him as this older dude now, kind of little cheese ball sometimes. Amazing guitar player, but back in the day he was actually cool.
Still cool in my book.
Still cool, but
and
like
I'm a
said,
Hagar fan. Hate if you will, but I'm a Sammy fan. So here we go.
We skipped the light fandango, turned some cartwheels across the floor. I was feeling kinda seasick when the crowd called out for more. The room was humming harder, and the ceiling flew away. When I called out for another drink, well, the waiter brought a tray. And so it was later, when the miller told his tale, that her face at first just ghostly. Turn the wider shade of pale. He said there is no reason, and the truth was plain to see, that I wandered through my playing cards. I just could not let him believe. No, one of 16 Vestal virgins was leaving for the coast. And although my eyes were open, they might just as well be closed. And so it was later, when the miller told his tale, said her face at first just ghostly, and turned a wider shade of pale.
That was Procol Harum right here, 96 Rock. Coming up next, we got a long set of Boston.
He actually, his guitar tone sounded a little like Boston.
Yeah, that was, what, 83 you said?
That was 84.
84. And that song had a resurgence a year later because of the movie The Big Chill. That soundtrack was huge, and it had a lot of Motown songs on it. Because I remember listening to the soundtrack, not knowing these songs. It's the first time I'd heard these songs, and my mother happened to come by my room, and I had it on my boombox or something, and she said, kind of tongue in cheek, like, "What you listening to?" And I was like, "Oh, it's this new song out," and it was like, heard it through the grapevine or something like that. And I remember her stopping and looking at me like, "Oh dear Lord, my child is special in the wrong way."
I haven't taught him anything.
Yeah, there's many times my mother looked at me and just went, "Oh God, oh Jesus." But yes, that was one of the times where I didn't realize that, hey, these songs have been around for 25 years. So yeah, that was I love that song. God,
So
I love that song.
love that song too. Now I remembered this song from a very different movie.
Okay.
So I discovered this song. So it is Procol Harum. It was released in 1967, and Procol Harum were actually an English band who kind of can be considered progressive rock, proto-progressive rock, whatever you want to call it. That song actually sold singles sold 10 million singles.
Nice.
Crazy. That's crazy.
A nice little house in England.
And Procol Harum featured a guitarist who I like very much, who a lot of people know. His name is Robin Trower.
Yes.
Where I first heard this song, there was a movie that came out in, I think it was 1990, may have been 89, and it was based on a fictional band that was put together in Ireland to play this kind of rootsy Motown type music, but they're Irish. And the name of the movie is called The Commitments.
Oh, I remember that.
And it's a really, really good movie. I haven't seen it in years, but I used to really love it. And there's a scene where they go to get the keyboard player. Well, he's in a church playing a pipe organ, and this is the song that he's playing, and he's singing the wrong on a pipe organ, and he's singing the wrong words. He didn't say "Trip the Light Fandango" or something, and the guy's making fun of him because he doesn't know the words. But that's what I remember, and that's how I was introduced to this
Chip to
song.
bite a mango.
Something like that. And he's like, "It's Trip the Light Fandango."
Sorry.
With an Irish accent.
Let's add Procol Harum to an episode. They're not completely obscure, but I bet you we could come up with some cool stuff because I'd like to learn a little bit more about them.
Well, I've got their album, so
Let's do that.
Go figure.
Yeah, go figure. I mean, blow me over with a feather.
I can't believe it. Yeah,
It just brings back good memories. I like that song, and I would like to hear some of the other stuff. So yeah, maybe we can figure out a way to squeeze those in another episode.
We will figure out how to do that. Let's move on. I've been playing a lot of bands that we have been talking about in more recent episodes. So I'm going to bring another band up that we've talked about recently. We talked about Mr. George Lynch.
Oh, yes.
So we're going to bring George Lynch up again because
episode of Mr. Lynch.
we like Lynch a whole lot. And I mentioned that after Talkin, so George Lynch, if you didn't listen to that episode, refresh. So George Lynch was in Talkin. He was part of the scene in LA, early LA hair metal, if you want to call it that, but just early LA rock. So he was there with Eddie Van Halen. He was there with Randy Rhoads. Those were kind of his contemporaries. And he was in Talkin from early 80s until 89. So they weren't around that long, but a lot of people remember Talkin, know a lot about Talkin. And then he formed a band called Lynch Mob after his name. They released 2 full lengths, 90 and 92, and then he took a little time off before coming back in full force. And Lynch Mob's released 11 albums since, and he has 12 solo releases, 11 project groups. He's just very prolific, and we talked about that in our episode about him. On the second Lynch Mob album, there is a killer cover song, and I am going to play it. I'm giving a little hint there. It's a killer cover song. Here we go, Lynch Mob from 1992 from their self-titled album, Lynch Mob.
Got my timing right, I got my act outside.
probably the closest you'll get to hearing Dave Mustaine covering Queen. Whoever that was, like a half a step off of just, yeah.
His name's Robert Mason.
Robert Mason.
Yeah, so he
Good
was
singer. Good singer.
really good singer, and I love that they kind of put their own spin on it. I even heard like very faint horns in some of it. Did you hear that? Like keyboard horns?
Yeah, keyboard horns. Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that, but I kind of like that they just kind of subtly threw that in.
Yeah, it was not
Something
overpowering.
a little bit different.
Yeah.
And his take on the lead is completely off base from the original Queen song.
Oh, no, he's not trying to be Brian May at all. He's like, no, this is going to be my solo in the middle of a Queen song.
And it's almost like off-putting, and then by the end of it, I'm just loving it. I'm like, oh, it's just George Lynch being George Lynch.
Yeah.
You know,
A lot of notes. He's got a lot of notes to talk about.
Yes, he does. So Robert Mason, I believe he's the singer for Warrant now.
Okay.
So he was in a band called Cry of Love back in the day, who, were one of those bands that didn't quite make it. And then he got this gig with Lynch Mob on their second album because their original singer had some issues. And so his name was Oni Logan. And most people, when they think of Lynch Mob, they think of Oni Logan's voice. This album didn't do quite as well, and that might be why they went on a hiatus for a little bit. But I absolutely love this album, and I think their version of a killer Queen classic is pretty amazing. All right. So I'm going to talk about another band that we just talked about last week. Do you remember last week at all?
Yeah, it was the week before when we were getting just completely deluged. Was it U2?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Okay, so last week we talked about Mother Superior.
Oh yeah, I remember that week.
They were also at one point considered the Rollins Band. So I'm going to play a Rollins Band song
covering Mother Superior.
No, this is actually the original Rollins Band.
Okay.
So we talked about that. So Rollins had his own band when Henry Rollins left Black Flag, who were a hardcore punk rock group from California. When he left them in '86, he formed his own band with a guy named Chris Haskett, who was a guitarist. He released a solo album, and in the same year, he released an album under the name Rollins Band. So he formed his own band, and this band released 5 albums from '87 to '97 before he replaced them with Mother Superior, who we talked about last week. Go check out that episode because that was a lot of fun. They don't really release a lot of covers in their tenure as this version of the Rollins Bands, but they had a really good one on this album that I'm going to play from. And when Rollins had Mother Superior as his group, they did an awesome Thin Lizzy cover.
Ooh.
So we may get into that one day down the road. But I'm going to play this other cover that I'm aware of that Rollins Band did. And this
other cover from another mother.
Nice. I like that. I want to talk about this album because this was one of those albums that came out in the 90s and everybody seemed to own this. I thought it was really weird at the time that people were getting into these cover albums, these compilations, but this is one that I used to see on everybody's shelf back in the college days, so I don't want to give it away totally, so we're going to play the song first and then we'll come back and talk about it. Here's some Rollins Band from 1995, and it's not Liar.
Fly. Oh, I gotta try to find a way. 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 Oh, I gotta try to find a
So Led Zeppelin and probably Rush are two of the bands that if you're going to cover them, you better knock it out of the park or
sound just like the Rollins band.
Sound just like the Rollins band. You go in a completely different direction and interpret the song. And they did that very successfully. You knew what song that was, but they were not trying to be Jimmy Page or Robert Plant. It just they sounded like the Rollins band, which is great. I love that. You could recognize both bands.
Only Henry Rollins can cover something like that and come off sounding like it's just something off his album.
Yeah. This song I wrote last week.
It has that, just that dissonant, those chords. They manipulated the chords enough so that they're just all dissonant and just angry sounding, and Rollins just moaning.
That's what you want from Rollins.
So I love the guy. He could moan the phone book for me. So it's pretty awesome. So that song, obviously it's a big song because it's on Led Zeppelin 4, and that's typically, if you're even just barely into Led Zeppelin, that's usually the album that you get because it has Stairway on it.
Right.
But I found out, I didn't realize, they didn't really play that song live. They only did it in the studio. They played it once that I could find live.
Any particular reason?
Well, it's called Four Sticks, and the reason it's called Four Sticks is because Bonham actually had 4 sticks when he played it. He had 2 sticks in each hand, so that whole thing he's doing on the toms are with 4 sticks. And that's how it got its title. Well, it also has a very odd time signature.
Yes, that is true. That's a hard one to cover.
It's a mix of 5/8 and 6/8. 5/8 in itself is hard, but when you're going to mix 5/8 and 6/8,
well, the two bands I mentioned, that's funny. I mentioned Rush. That would be the other band that would do crazy stuff like that. Like, come on, 11-10-30-12 time signature.
Yeah, so I think it'd be a little hard to pull off. Now, what I think's interesting about this is not just that Rollins band played that song. That's interesting enough. The way they interpreted it is very interesting, but the fact that they were on this compilation that, like I said, seemed to be on everybody's shelf in the 90s. And the name of the compilation was Encomium, a tribute to Led Zeppelin. And I remember seeing this.
I remember
This is
that.
one of those things that...
I'm surprised I didn't have that.
It was one of those Columbia House things, right?
Yeah.
Anybody that got their Columbia House disc back in the day, if you don't know, Columbia House was... You could either get tapes or CDs. And in the 90s, it was CDs. And you would give a penny and you'd get, 12 CDs. And you were supposed to pay for
the catch is you would get signed up for a monthly subscription. But the trick was you would use somebody else's address and a fake name.
No,
and they can never...
Robert.
No, allegedly.
Robert.
Allegedly.
Never.
You would send it to a fraternity house and try to get there the day it arrived.
So I'm assuming that the post office at Clemson was like the post office at FSU,
College
where you were
town.
any college town, where most of the postage coming in at that point in time was all Columbia House, or BMG,
cassettes, like boxes of cassettes they'd have to deliver to every dorm.
So anyway, I say that because I used to see this everywhere, and I assume that's how most people got it, but it was an Atlantic Records release, and it was 90s bands playing these kind of light, weird versions of Led Zeppelin tunes. And it featured Hootie and the Blowfish, Sheryl Crow, Big Head Todd and the Monsters, Blind Melon. STP has a killer song on it. Duran Duran's on it. They have a killer song. And then you throw Rollins Band in there. It's like...
That was the outlier. You had a lot of...
hell?
Not light rock, mellow rock. I mean, Big Head Todd, I love... In fact, when you said that, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot.
I love some Big Head Todd.
I'm going to go look up some Big Head. But and Todd.
Well, I was going to tell you, Brad Rustoven, our friend again at Slam Fest, he did a whole episode on Big Head Todd.
Oh, really?
So,
all right, I'll be checking that one out too. I'm missing them. That was some good 90s music.
It was good. Blues-based, really good stuff. But anyway, it was always odd to me because my favorite song on this disc is Rollins Band, and that was the song that everybody I knew skipped or said that was horrible.
No, play that Sheryl Crow one again.
Play Sheryl Crow. Oh, the Hootie song's amazing.
Oh, I love this Hootie song.
Oh, God.
Oh, gee. Yeah, that's... Oh, yeah, I'm embarrassed to say that I probably, when we talked about cover songs that I did, I sold my soul. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I threw in a couple of, because the girls liked it, and, whatever it takes to make
Hold
the
My
women
Hand,
happy.
Was that the one?
That or Let Her Cry. They're all the same. I mean, every song's the same.
I'm from South Carolina.
Yeah.
Hootie and the Blowfish were from the University of South Carolina, and they used to come through. So Clemson is also in South Carolina, where I went to school, and they used to come through all the time. And then it's like one semester they were at Tigertown Tavern, which is a common
small bar
that everybody goes to. Not that small, but decent size. But that's where all the regional acts played. And then the next semester, they were playing the Coliseum. It's like, it was the craziest thing.
They're the equivalent of Zach Brown. So I don't know how many people out there know who Zach Brown Band is, but they got their start at a bar across the street from the Firehouse where we record, and they were just the bar band, and we would go in there playing cover songs. In fact, we should have talked about them, and they had the genius idea to charge based on how bad they didn't want to play the song. So if you wanted them to play Sweet Home Alabama, it was going to cost you like $20.
That's right.
But all the good songs they wanted to play were $1 or free. And so I thought that was genius.
It was genius.
If you got to play it, well, you're making some money off of it. And so, yeah, they went from playing this bar across the street to cover songs to selling out huge venues, making some huge money. So based out of Smyrna, Georgia, Zach Brown Band, our local hometown boys made it big. So, yeah, maybe throwing a cover of theirs. But they're actually really talented guys. They cut their teeth for years here.
He's a good dude, too. Just a good person. I've got one more song, and I want to end on something funky, because we like to play something funky every once in a while.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to play from a band that we played on our episode 40, which is Something Smells Funky, Volume 3.
So that's not me. You have to put that at the end of it, and it's not me.
Well, it is me, because today, man, I had a hard day at work, and I'm
built up some funk.
I'm a little sweaty balls right now. So
stay over there.
So this is a band called Royal Crescent Mob. We talked about them. We played one of their songs. They're a punk funk band from Columbus, Ohio. You may remember because the singer plays harmonica. And Robert doesn't really like harmonica that much.
I have nothing against the harmonica.
I
don't know what you're talking about. You lie.
But anyway, he plays harmonica, so it's a funk band with kind of punk tendencies, and also has a harmonica. So I
hate Alanis Morissette playing harmonica specifically. All the other harmonicas remind me how much I hate Alanis Morissette playing harmonica. So there you go.
Okay.
I just to confess and get it all out there. That's
all right.
What it is.
So this band toured with the Replacements and Chili Peppers and B-52, so they were part of that. And I even mentioned that the drummer would later go on to work with one of my faves, 24/7 Spies, one of their albums called Heavy Metal Soul by the Pound. They also have on their first album, Omerta, that came out in 1987, they put out a cover that at the time I may not have been into. Now later, when I discovered this band a little bit later in the 90s, I was totally into it. But it's one of those songs that as a kid didn't do much for me because it came out in the disco age.
Oh.
Right? But I later realized how cool some of that stuff was from a band, from a playing perspective. And when you put the right spin on it, it can be really cool.
Oh, listen, it's fun from a rock perspective to hate on disco, but there's a real fine line between the really good funk and some good disco.
Yeah, especially in that 1977 to 79 period. It kind of was one and the same.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm very much okay with that.
So let's go.
Gonna get
it's a good and bad thing that is the only genre of music that makes me want to dance. Because that doesn't need to be seen by anybody else, but God, you can't sit still listen to that.
Exactly.
And the subject matter appeals to me, as most of my friends know. I've got some experience with pyrotechnics, and I live in a firehouse and own 2 fire trucks. So, yes.
You should use that song for a performance.
I think, listen, I had ideas. I've got ideas now. Some flamethrowers. Yeah. Well, I think we can work something out.
Obviously, they were having fun with it. They weren't taking. They didn't take themselves too seriously.
It sounded like they had fun recording it. I mean, it sounded like just a party all night long recording that song.
Just dudes in a band having fun, doing their thing, and kind of taking the piss out of a song that's really badass. When you boil it down, the bass, it just has a groove and it gets you. That's what I have for you today. Now, I do want to have a little bit of a play out song because I always think it's cool when a thrash band plays some classic rock.
Ooh.
There's several of them that do it, and I'm going to play one.
Megadeth covers Boston.
No, I'm going to play Overkill, actually.
Oh.
Overkill. So a New Jersey thrash band. Some people say they should have been included in the Big Four, but they never really got that big. So
They're underkill.
Yeah, they were underkill. But they released several covers over their course of their albums. They're 20 albums in. They're still going strong.
Good God.
Yeah. They've been around since 85. The output is just crazy. You don't go... Barely a year goes by that you don't get something from them.
They enjoy it. That's good.
And they just keep going. And they had an album in 99 they released called Coverkill, which was all covers. But I'm going to play something from their 91 album. This is when I got on board with them. The name of the album was Horoscope. So, of course, I was like, ooh, Horoscope. I'm going to like that.
Spooky.
Spooky stuff. It's got a skull on it with a bat wing. I'm
Sold. Here's my $12.
Yes, take as much money as you want from me. But, they did this. So I'm going to play this out. I don't know if you have anything else before we get out of here today.
I just want to say I enjoyed this episode.
Nice.
I enjoyed this episode. Oh, God, you nailed every single one of those songs. Loved every single one of them. Just so for future reference, remind me next week that I enjoyed all the songs that you played.
Well, when you listen to the episode 5 times.
Right, as I do every week. Every week, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, awesome, man. Yeah, I think people enjoyed this too because the last one, I got a lot of comments. So hopefully everybody enjoyed this one. Hopefully it's kind of all over the board, but still cool and everybody digs it. Overkill playing an instrumental classic rock, super classic Frankenstein.
Oh, nice.
So that was the Edgar Winter band.
Edgar Winter's,
right?
not
Johnny.
Edgar, Jerry Winter.
So the Edgar Winter band. So this is Frankenstein, played by a thrash band, Overkill. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Later.
is that? What? I was just sitting there and you were all quiet. What are you doing?
Ronnie James, DOG.